Howdy, everybody. Today is Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. The time is 5:30 p.m. We're here for the regular session of the Coppell City Council. There is a quorum present, so I will call the meeting to order. We are convening into executive session in the first floor conference room. At the end of the executive session, I'll come back out and announce work session, at which time the public will be invited and encouraged to join us. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. The time is 7:21 p.m. We have adjourned from executive work session. We're going to move into work session in the first floor conference room. The public is invited and encouraged to join us. Thank you very much. Okay, good evening. Item B is going to take longer than we have time for. So did Ellie already leave us?
We already asked, we let her
Okay.
know, we didn't have time.
Item B is going to be deferred to a March session. Item C is also going to be deferred to March. So we are down to one item on the work session, which is discussion regarding the agenda items. We do have one request to move item 9D, at least for a presentation. Do we have time to do that one now?
Do you have time?
I mean, I can run through, it just depends on how many questions I can run through
Why don't you-
fairly quickly and
why don't you do-
college try.
We did have one request on 9D, so go ahead, Tracy.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Council. Before you tonight is an agreement with Barry Dunn to provide facilitation services to the city of Coppell to help us with the refresh for the Vision 2040 strategic plan. So the plan, the scope of work has two objectives. The first is to the facilitator will help with conversations to make sure that the community knows what has been achieved in pursuit and support of the plan for the first 5 years that we have been working diligently under that plan. And then the second thing that they will help us facilitate some conversations with our community from an engagement perspective to help us understand whether the plan in its current iteration still reflects the priorities of our community. And so the way that they are going to do that is through a number of various engagement types. So it will be everything from one-on-ones with key stakeholders to smaller individual pop-ups that we are going to host out in the community to kind of larger community forums, as well as some online platforms. So if you participated in the Community Experiences Master Plan, the online platform that they used for that engagement, we are also going to be using for this engagement as well. It's called Social Pinpoint. And so there's going to be a number of opportunities that the facilitator, in this case Barry Dunn, will be providing to help make sure that we are engaging with all parts of our community. One of the things that we had as a feature for the development of the Vision 2040 plan last time was an executive committee that was appointed by the council, which was great. It functioned very well to kind of make sure that we were true, the plan was true to the feedback that was coming in. And we intend to have the feedback from the community be accurately reflected even in the refresh. One of the things we learned and that we will be adjusting with this go around is that the engagement and level of engagement at the council level really created a disconnect in understanding the plan, understanding the feedback, having the context for what those conversations were. And so under this plan, this is a wholly different council, right? So half of this table didn't have truly an opportunity in this capacity to have feedback around what your priorities are for what this plan will be. And so our intent is to integrate the city council in a more intentional way around how we can get feedback, how you guys will be integrated into the engagement that we're going to have out in the community. And so Barry Dunn, we went through a very exhaustive evaluation process. So we did issue an RFP. We had 4 firms provide proposals. We interviewed the top 2, and Barry Dunn was our unanimous choice from the evaluation team to move forward and provide those services for our community. And with that, I know I talked really fast. I'm happy to answer any questions that you all may have on that.
She answered all my questions, and it can stay on the consent agenda as far as I'm concerned.
All right. Kevin.
I actually just had a quick question about this. So, being on that executive committee that we had, so, you know, I do think that your comments are very interesting. I really feel like the executive committee was a lot closer to it than the council, you know, itself. So I do appreciate the consideration of that. I did have a question though about the RFP scoring. So Future IQ was a part of that, which, if I recall correctly, was the consulting firm that did the 2040 plan. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
All right. So I've kind of
Aspirational.
yeah, aspirational, like not as quite as, nebulous. That's the word I'm looking for. So is part of the choice of going with this different company, was it to try to get just a different perspective on 2040, like the way it was presented the first time? Or I'm just kind of curious, future IQ and now not future IQ. Does that make sense?
Sure. And so I will tell you from the evaluation team perspective, what pushed Barry Dunn's proposal to the top really was around their proposed methodology on how they were going to engage with our community, the ways that they were going to do that, and then the team that they were proposing to provide to us. So it wasn't, if you looked at the scoring, all of those numbers for each of the four were really close. There wasn't like this 40 or 50 point spread. So they were all very close. Every one of those four firms we could have brought them in and they would be competent and we would be happy with the product. We felt that Barry Dunn was really going to provide the level of service that we were really looking for based on who our community is today.
Excellent. Thank you for that answer. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. So Tracy, we have 7 fillers out of 2040.
Yes.
And we are going to go back to the community and ask them, is 7 fillers, is it have done something in 5 years? Are they happy with it? What exactly are we trying to accomplish?
Right, so part of it is around awareness. And so for a lot of residents, they may not even know, what the pillars are. So part of it will just be, here's what the plan is. And then the second part of that education is about, okay, and if this is the plan, then here are all of the things that our community has done to support that plan since the plan was adopted in 2020. So that's really the first part of kind of what we're talking about with the education piece around what does the plan say today and what have we as a community and the city council done to support that. And then the second part is really around engaging with the community. So if we think about how many new residents we've had come into our community since 2020, there are a lot of people who did not have an opportunity to participate and have their voice heard around the things that were really important to them. And so they may hear this plan, so hopefully they're going to engage with the education piece and understand then what the plan is. But they may hear those pillars and say, I don't know that that really resonates with me. Here's what's most important to me. And so the engagement process is really designed to make sure that, to understand the level of alignment that the current community has with what the current plan says.
Yeah,
And so they'll be making recommendations based on the feedback they're hearing from the community on how much alignment we have there.
To that point, the consultant will go to HOA to get that feedback?
Yeah, so there's going to be a number of stakeholder groups that we're going to be engaging with. So HOA, all of our groups. So we have, our HOA community, we have our church community, we have our civic and community social groups in our community. We have the schools, we have the youth, we have our seniors. So all of the areas we're going to try to make sure that we're engaging and providing opportunities for as many people as possible to provide their feedback to us.
Real quick, the only other thing that I saw that was any kind of concern at all was that most of them were from out of town. And there's an $8,000 estimate on travel expenses, but it's not a cap. And maybe we should have a little bit more structure or an understanding on how many people are going to be coming down here, because with the kind of town halls and everything, we could have quite a bit of travel.
Well, so the way that we handled that so Future IQ was our firm that we engaged with for the first, and a lot of that you handle with scheduling. So you can be really smart about when you schedule a lot of those engagements so that they're sort of clustered together and people aren't having to fly in 40 times to make sure that they're covering our community. So we'll handle that through just smart scheduling.
Okay, thank you, Tracy.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody have any other questions on the agenda for tonight?
No, sir.
All right. That brings us to the end of work session. The time is 7:32. We will be convening in the for regular session of the Coppell City Council at 7:35. Good evening, everybody. The time is 7:37 p.m. We're here for the regular session of the Coppell City Council. Just as a reminder, persons wishing to speak during our citizens' appearance must sign in the appropriate register outside the council chambers and list your address. This evening, we're privileged to have Parvin Azadi with the Allies Interfaith Group here to give the invocation, and then we will move into the Pledge of Allegiance, so please remain standing. Ms. Azadi?
I am very thankful to the Council for this opportunity and the honor. I will share a prayer from the Baha'i Faith. O thou merciful God, O thou who art mighty and powerful, O thou most kind Father, these servants have gathered together, turning to thee, supplicating thy threshold, desiring thine endless bounties from thy great assurance. They have no purpose save thy good pleasure. They have no intention save service to the world of humanity. O God, make this assemblage radiant. Make the hearts merciful. Comfort the bounties of the Holy Spirit. Endow them with the power from heaven. Bless them with heavenly minds. Increase their sincerity, so that with all humility and contrition, they may turn to thy kingdom and be occupied with service to the world of humanity. May each one become a radiant candle. May each one become a brilliant star. May each one become beautiful in color and redolent of fragrance in the kingdom of God. O kind Father, confer thy blessings. Bestow thy gracious aid and confirmation upon this just council. O Lord, confer upon them thy heavenly bounty, and render the outpourings of thy grace and favor, that they may be enabled by your powerful protection to discharge their duties with honesty and ability. Thou art the powerful, thou art the giver, thou art the beneficent. Abdul Baha.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please be seated. Okay. All right, item number 6 on the agenda is a report from the Coppell Sustainable Food Organization, and this is our annual update. So I'd like to ask Marissa and Amanda and Hillary to come forward and fill us in on what's been happening. Go ahead and introduce yourselves as well, please.
Hello, my name is Marissa Olivas, Community Programs Coordinator.
My name is Amanda Austin, and I'm the director of the Coppell Farmers Market.
I'm Hillary Hodgson, and I'm the garden chair.
Okay. Hello, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having us tonight. My name is Marissa Olivas. I'm the liaison to the Coppell Farmers Market and the Coppell Community Gardens. I also want to thank everyone who has shown up here to support the market and the gardens. I want to acknowledge the incredible contributions these groups offer to our community and the strength of our longtime community partnership. The Coppell Farmers Market has seen continuous growth in market attendance and remains a place where small businesses can thrive. This year, the market has been focusing on strategic planning as they prepare to establish their independent nonprofit in 2026. Due to their strong community value and exceptional work curating a diverse market that caters to the market patrons' needs, we believe that the Coppell Farmers Market is one of the best markets in Texas. The Coppell Community Gardens continues to support MetroCrest services by offering organic produce to their food pantry. I regularly hear praise from MetroCrest services staff on the quality and variety of produce that our incredible gardens donate and how much the patrons enjoy and appreciate it. Through the strong foundation of our community partnership, these groups are able to thrive and thus better serve our community. I want to give thanks to the Coppell Sustainable Food Organization Board for its leadership, the Coppell Farmers Market Steering Committee, market leadership, community garden leadership, the many, many dedicated volunteers who contribute to the mission of this organization day in and day out, and council and city leadership for continued support. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Amanda Austin.
The market appreciates the City of Coppell's ongoing support. We are dedicated to serving Old Town Coppell, the greater Coppell community, and regional agricultural food producers. Last year proved to be a significant year of growth for our market. These charts indicate the market's growth over the past 3 to 4 years. Graph 1 shows an upward growth trend with 2024 numbers showing the biggest customer increase yet. Graph 2 demonstrates an increase in vendors from just under 60 in 2021 to more than 80 in 2024. Vendor growth correlates directly with customer growth, as vendors are only added as demand for product increases. In 2024, customers visited the Coppell Farmers Market from all over the Metroplex, with some people traveling as far as 30 miles to access locally grown produce and homemade food items. The market has a 5-star rating on our Google business profile, with many customers stating that the CFM is the best market in the area. The second map here shows the location of our vendors' farms and ranches, demonstrating how the market makes rurally produced meat and vegetables accessible to Coppell and DFW residents. It also shows that our market has an economic impact across 15 North and Central Texas counties. Farmers rate the CFM with a high level of satisfaction. One of our farmers said earlier this year that beginning in 2020 through 2023, they saw their business more than double in revenue year over year, with 2024 looking even brighter. Last year, the market expanded its educational and community engagement initiatives. The market hosted booths for 2 to 3 groups every market day, where students in grades K through 12 were able to pursue an entrepreneurial idea, raise funds for a cause, or provide a service, like activities or recycling collection. We launched a nutrition education program in partnership with Texas Health Resources, where hands-on activities like seed planting, mural painting, and veggie taste testing were conducted on market days. We provided valuable resources to vendors, such as business development training and funding through grants. And we grew our equitable food access program in partnership with MetroCrest Services, Sustainable Food Center of Austin, and Texas Health Resources. Looking ahead, the Coppell Farmers Market began strategic planning at the beginning of this year. Later in the year, we'll reincorporate as a new nonprofit organization with a focus on these goals and values. Please take notice of the third set of values, inclusivity, community resilience, and placemaking, as they directly correlate with the City of Coppell's 2040 vision. We are committed to continuing to serve the City of Coppell and its residents as we move into the next phase of our growth and development. Thank you. This is Hillary.
Whoops, wrong way. That's where I went. Okay. I'm happy to report that the garden donated almost 25,000 pounds of produce again this year to the MetroCrest Food Pantry, bringing in, the total since inception to more than 380,000 pounds, which equates to 317,000 healthy meals. The pantry last year distributed over 100,000 pounds of food to about 1,000 families each week, and apparently our fresh produce goes very quickly. Making this all possible is the work of our 104 gardening families who put in over 6,600 volunteer hours. We had additional support from corporate volunteers, youth service groups, scouts, and church groups that helped transport produce, helped with weeding, turning compost, constructing walkways, gardens, tables, and other useful amenities. The greenhouse continues to be a success, producing more than 30,000 transplants again this year, which went to the community gardens, about 24,000 plants to the gardens, 5,000 to the school gardens, and $1,000 went to our fundraiser, the plant sale we held at the farmers market. Our Vigo Bed initiative, begun in 2023, continued with the completion of 24 additional beds. We've also this year taken on a new initiative to expand our marketing efforts, which is seeing signs of success as we're bringing in new gardeners and volunteers. I want to close by bringing you up to date on our anniversary celebration, which took place after we last presented to you. The community garden celebrated its 25th anniversary, and the farmers market its 20th anniversary with a wonderful evening at the senior center. One of the garden managers made commemorative quilts for each of the gardens and the farmers market for a raffle, and this represents the town center garden, so each of those is the plot, and you can see the layout. This is right next to us. If you want to check out the map, you can find each plot. But we want to thank you for your role in helping each of these communities thrive.
Thank you.
No, thank you, ladies, for what you do for us. You know, we know that the farmers market is one of the top-rated, I think it was the top-rated farmers market in North Texas for a number of years. I haven't seen the statistics this year. So, you know, it's okay to toot your horn a little bit there. So, perfectly okay. Council, anybody have any? Yes, Councilmember Matthew.
Thank you, Mayor. I serve as the city liaison to MetroCrest, and I attend the board meetings, and they're very appreciative of our community garden and the produce we donate to them. And the clients who comes to pick those up, they are very appreciative of organic food they are getting from the MetroCrest stores. So we really thank you for your hard work. We appreciate you.
Councilmember Prem Kumar.
Thank you, Mayor. Last year, about the same time, I had the opportunity to interact with a lot of the community gardeners, and you're all really cool people. I mean, you're very passionate and you're so humble in what you do. So thank you for what you do, and thank you for the healthy food that you produce and share with the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Walker.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I just also wanted to say, I think in an age when there's a growing awareness and sensitivity to eating healthy and to, you know, what chemicals are in our foods and that sort of thing, y'all are really way ahead of the curve and have been for a long time. And then, you know, the lower income communities, you know, oftentimes have the hardest time eating healthy. And the fact that you're sending thousands of pounds, and, you know, hundreds of thousands of pounds over the years, I guess, of healthy meals to MetroCrest is just really just fantastic. And I hope everyone that works on the community gardens and the farmers market are blessed by that. It's just a wonderful community service. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilmember Carroll.
Thank you, Mayor. My comments are primarily, I mean, the food is great, the gardening is great and everything, but I love what you do just for the community. We always talk about this being a great community, and this is just another example of how you build community and how you help everybody learn how to love that neighbor. And the education piece where you're actually getting ready to pass this on to the next generation. So they also have a love, not only the knowledge to know how to do it, but the love of wanting to be engaged with the community. So thank you just from the community for creating that community.
So we're just now coming out of, you know, the winter time. So when are you back in full session now, or what's the schedule looking like?
Planting's begun, and a lot of work on maintaining the gardens went on over the past couple months, but onions are already in, and we're starting transplants, the plant sales coming up. We're ready to get rolling here. And because it was so warm, we had harvesting all the way into January, so.
Wow. Well, thank you very much. I'm sorry, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say, in a time where the council and the community have really been talking a lot about Old Town, you guys have really been the center of that hub, and you guys really put Old Town on the map with the activity that you guys bring down there and the people that are drawn down. not just from Coppell, but as we've seen on the maps, like just from the entire region. So I want to thank you guys very much for putting Coppell on the map in that regard, but also showing Coppell and the entire region that Coppell has more to offer with the other amenities that we have in Old Town. So I want to thank you guys for that. Obviously, all the amazing work that my other council member colleagues have spoken about, but just want to thank you guys for everything you do, and thank you guys for being such an amazing bright spot for our community. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you guys for all the positive comments. We really appreciate you and your support.
All right, item number 7 is a presentation from our Salvation Army regarding the Red Kettle campaign. Resmond Richardson, and we'll let you guys come down, and really appreciate you guys coming out and talking to us tonight. I'll probably follow up with a little something after you guys get finished there.
Absolutely. Good evening. Mr. Mayor, Councilman, my name is Lieutenant Richard Reynolds. I serve as the Corps Officer for the Salvation Army of Irving, Texas, Las Colinas, and Coppell areas. With me is Resmond Richardson, our Major Gifts Manager for Dallas County. And we are here tonight simply to say thank you. We want to thank you for participating with us in our Red Kettle effort for 2024 in the Mayoral Challenge. Your combined efforts on your day at the Kettle helped us raise over $380 to help people in need in our community. Provide things like rent, utility assistance, food, clothing, nights of shelter. In 1891, there was a Salvation Army captain named Joseph McPhee who was trying to find a creative way to help feed people. And he remembered his seafaring days in London, and there would be a pot sitting on the shore, and when the sailors would come in from a long time at sea, they would throw coins in this pot, and this money was used to make soup for homeless people. That sparked the Red Kettle campaign, the Red Kettle fundraiser, which to this day still continues to be one of the largest and most effective fundraising campaigns for the Salvation Army. So we thank you for doing your part with us, and we hope that you will do that for many years to come. And as a token of appreciation, we have a certificate and a bell for you, Mr. Mayor. It's loud, very loud. You can call your meetings to order with it. We've got our Hannah coming down right now. So there we go. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming out. I have a couple of questions I'm going to ask, so we're on microphones. Sure. Excuse me just a moment.
Christmas time again.
We'll always know where he is now.
That's right. You have to carry that everywhere.
Okay, so I'd like to thank the council members that came out and helped us out this year. I did not have to stand out there for the 6 hours total, so it was kind of a joint effort. I had a blast. It's always good to get out and meet the citizens. My question to you is probably obviously, how do we do better? You know, this community is very giving. We discussed location. Do we need to plan ahead a little bit better? What can we do to help you guys out more?
I think as far as your part of this, the Mayoral Challenge, just getting the word out, we do something else along with the actual physical stand kettle. We do a virtual kettle. I'm sure that Resmond may have sent you some information on that. Mm-hmm. That's a very good and effective way to distribute awareness to your friends and colleagues. And even the council members, we can even set up kettles for you guys that you can distribute those links to your colleagues and friends and family to donate and give, because need knows no season. We serve thousands of people every night and as the city goes on by. And so, yes, it is wonderful that we have an opportunity to raise money at Christmas time, but there's always need.
Yes, and I see a new way city's been getting ahead is the tree lighting event. they'll ask for a kettle to come out during the tree lighting event, and they get everybody around it as well. So that's a new type of way people are getting it. And then they get the fire department, police department, all of the above to come out as well.
Okay, I can't commit to that, but we certainly have our, we have our holiday parade at the beginning of December.
I have a
and
mobile canteen unit I can
we'll
bring to your parade, so.
we'll put that on the list. So, listen, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming out. Council, did you have any questions for these guys? I was carrying this on all myself. Who all was, I can't remember who all volunteered. Councilmember Walker, Prem Kumar, Matthew. It was, oh, and I'm sorry, and, well, you didn't raise your hand, so my memory is really lacking. That's right, it was Mia. How did I forget that? But, you know, it was fun. The number of people that came up and, you know, said, you know, the mayor's challenge, well, where's the mayor? And I go, right here. So it was good. Okay, so anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much, and we'll count on seeing you probably in about, what, 7 or 8 months now?
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you know someone in need, send them our way.
Okay.
That's what we're here for.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank y'all so much.
Okay, item number 8 is our citizens' appearance, and persons wishing to speak must sign the register and list your address. Presentations by individuals shall be limited to 3 minutes each. Persons signed up to speak will be called in the order that you have signed up. No personal attacks by any speakers shall be made against any member of the council, mayor, individual group, or corporation. There will be no comments or deliberations from the City Council due to the Texas Open Meetings Act. We do have 2 people that have signed up to speak tonight, and the first person signed up is Mr. Paul Gordon. Mr. Gordon?
Thank you, guys. Will there be a timer here, or should I do it myself?
There is a timer down there, sir.
Okay.
And
Well, again, thank you for being here. and
please
thank
list
you-
your
I'm
name
sorry,
and
that's
address.
Paul Gordon, 411 Alex Drive. I just want to say thank you all for serving and being part of our community. Okay, let me start this way. Let me paint a picture for you, okay? Let's say an African-American couple came up to our city park, okay? When they get there, they see the entire parking lot is full. And then they see the entire front pavilion is filled with people and the side pavilion. And they say to themselves, gee, what did I miss here? There must be some event going on. And then they walk up and get there and they notice that all the people are dressed in white robes, okay? And the men have on, some of them have on white hoods covering their faces. And they go, wow, I don't feel real comfortable with this. And then as they're about to leave, they see a Confederate battle flag planted right in the middle of the city property, okay? And they walk away and go, oh my gosh, I felt terrible. I would venture to say every one of you would be outraged and you would be saying, what the heck happened here? Okay, am I painting an extreme example, extreme hypothetical? Maybe so. But let me tell you my experience on Sunday, February 2nd, going up to Andy Brown's East. I get there, whole parking lot's full, whole pavilion's full. I mean, it's clearly an organized event. There were hundreds of people there, okay? But this time, again, I can speak, right? It's clearly a Muslim group. Women were in burqas, okay? Kids are running around in kafayas, those little black and white Palestinian terrorist Gaza headscarves, playing soccer. And my wife and I walked around the park and we said, well, you know, okay, fine. And then there was a call to prayer, okay? And all of these folks come up and start bowing to the east, to Mecca, while there's a call to prayer going on. And then as we leave, there's a Palestinian flag planted right in the middle of the green space. As someone of a Jewish background, I felt afraid, intimidated, and scared to be at my own park. Okay, why am I here? I paid that out. I painted things that are not, maybe clearly not morally equivalent, but they created the same amount of fear in that African-American couple as it did in me. I respectfully ask that the City Council consider an ordinance that, one, bans banners and flags on city property or in a park, on parking lot, any city-owned property, unless it's, you know, covered by some, you know, they reserve the right to do it. But, you know, that was just inflammatory to see that kind of stuff. Second, I think you really need to consider, does anyone really need to have their face fully covered in public, whether it's a Klansman or a burqa? I mean, something happens, there's an emergency. How do you identify the people? How do you identify what happened? Okay, is that really necessary in a park? And the third, what does a citizen like myself do if this happens again? I just need some kind of clear path. I show up, do I call the police? Are the police really going to show up and break the party up? You know, are they going to, you know, hand out fines? Okay, I've made my point, but let me just say this. Let's frame it this last way in my last 10 seconds. If that African-American couple had gone to Channel 8 and shown pictures, you guys, the whole city would be bending over backwards to apologize. But that happened to me as a person of Jewish descent, have to look at a Palestinian flag, kids running around in Gaza terrorist headscarves in my own park. And I would hope there's an equal amount of outrage. Okay, thank you for your time, appreciate it. Sorry to be kind of an inflammatory topic, but I need to say what I need to say. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments this evening. Our second speaker is Mr. Alex Stein. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
My name's Alex Stein, and I'm a citizen of the Earth. I live in the North American region. And I just want to say, I came here not that long ago, Mayor West. You remember talking about the Cowboys and before the season started and what happened? They didn't make the playoffs. They stunk like usual. I just want to bring that up. But I also want to give a shout out. We got a lot of good things happening. We got to give a shout out to my boy RFK Jr. That's right. He's been taking this methylene blue. Are you familiar with this, Mayor West? This stuff is good stuff. Let me tell you something. This stuff will just make you. It'll make you young again. Now, it is kind of dying. It'll make your teeth a little blue. But RFK takes this, and let me tell you something. Cheryl Hines, there's a reason she's not married to Larry David in real life. It's because of that RFK, you know what the F stands for, and it's not Fitzgerald. But I came here for a serious thing, very serious thing. I'm not even kidding. You might have saw this, but a congressman from the state of Texas by the name of Dan Crenshaw just called for the assassination of my biological stepfather, Tucker Carlson. Now, this might be funny, but to me it's not funny, and you guys as elected officials should try to, I guess, expose this, because I don't think it's very cool that a sitting congressman would say that he wants somebody dead, especially a celebrity that has a lot of influence and a lot of fans. So I think, morally that would be unjust to kill somebody, period, but to kill somebody that has, an adoring audience is absolutely sick. And if you look at Dan Crenshaw, he's an alcoholic, he's a dwarf, he's 5'6", he has one eye, and it's not even that good, the one that he has left. And listen, I respect that he lost his eye serving this country, and I respect every man and woman in uniform. But the idea that he went and found weapons of mass destruction, which he didn't, and that he still wants to go send kids to go fight in a war like Ukraine for literally nothing, and I think they're going to come to an agreement here by April, that the first agreement that they pitched the first week of this war is going to end up being the outcome. So it's all BS. Dan Crenshaw is a globalist. He does not care about this country, and he cannot attack my biological stepfather, Tucker Carlson. That is not okay with me. Tucker's done a lot for me. He's helped my family. He's helped this country, and Tucker speaks for the common person. He speaks, even though he is a wealthy man, he speaks for the middle class, believe it or not. And Dan Crenshaw is a guy that's inherited money, and now he's inherited the power and knowledge, and he's able to stock trade, and he's doing all kinds of stuff in Congress that is absolutely apparent, you know what I mean, bad. But my point is this. You need to, Mayor, blow the whistle on this. I don't think it's cool that Dan Crenshaw, probably drunk, allegedly cheats on his wife. I don't know if that's true, but I just talked to girls that said that they did stuff. A lot of girls say they do stuff, and, they're full of it. But my point is, Dan Crenshaw calling for the assassination of Tucker Carlson is not cool. And I know Dan's watching this. Dan, I just want to say, you're a little baby back biatch. And if you try to mess with freaking Tucker Carlson, you're not going to like how it ends. And all your Navy SEAL training is going to get thrown out the door, little Danny Boy Crenshaw. So, Mayor West, please, expose this. Thank you very much, and I appreciate you guys, your time.
Thank you for your comments this evening. Okay, item number 9 on our...
Mayor, I'd like to call a point of order. Can we handle this? This is interrupting the meeting.
My girlfriend's sitting over here. He goes and walks. I know, but I'm just saying, dude, it's not your job to go walk around my girlfriend like a freak, you old man. Like, sit down and watch the meeting, dude. Like, I know, but you see how he's walking around? Yeah, I know, but don't threaten my girlfriend. I don't give a damn how old you are trying to stand in front of a little girl. You're pathetic. I wouldn't talk much. Yeah, hey, I'll talk all I want,
Sir.
Man. And I'll be at your funeral, too. Yeah, coward, walk away. I'm a coward. I'm right here. Yeah, walk away from what, Baldy? What are you going to do, bald-headed boy? What are you going to do? You going to cry about Israel some more? Keep mocking me. Go ahead. I know, but he's sitting here crying about people wearing masks. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Thank you, everybody, for your patience tonight. Our consent agenda is next on our list. And our consent agenda is routine in nature and generally enacted in one motion. These items have been previously considered through previous council actions or the budget. Any item may be pulled and considered separately. Full description are available on the screen. We did have a description by Ms. Leach on item D during work session. And I did have a question for the city attorney on item C on a definition of the word scrivener.
It's the author, the person writing. I had made a mistake. I misunderstood something from staff, and so I made what I would call scrivener's error. I wrote what I was told to, but I was wrong in how I wrote it, so we're just correcting it.
So, I learned more words
You know,
from
Barnable's a scrivener. Did you ever read that when you were in school?
I did not.
It's Herman Melville's story, and it's about a man that transcribed, information and wrote in a book, and he did it his entire career, and they finally didn't need him anymore, so they fired him, but he came to work every day after he was fired. It's called Barnable's a Scrivener. I recommend it to everyone. Maybe Mr. Stein needs to read that.
I appreciate the education, but I will tell you that I have learned more English words from attorneys in a professional sense than anywhere else in my vocabulary. So you've added another one to my list tonight. So thank you very much. As I completely derailed us there, is there any item that any of the council members have a request to be pulled from the agenda or have any questions? Councilmember Walker.
Thank you, Mayor Mays. I move that we approve items A through D on the consent agenda.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Councilmember Hill, all in favor?
Walker, Carroll, Nevels, Prem Kumar, Matthew Hill in favor, none opposed, motion carries.
Thank you very much. Item number 10 is consider acceptance of the annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2024. And Vanessa Tarver will introduce the audit team. Woohoo.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Ms. Tien. All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Vanessa Tarver, and I'm the Financial Relationships Group Manager in Strategic Financial Engagement. The item before you today is for your approval of the fiscal year 24 audit. Now, a little information that's in your memo is that an audit is required by Section 7.13 of the city's Home Rule Charter. So from all the residents here to rating agencies to council members, anyone can see that our financial statements are fairly represented. Now, a little information I want to provide before I hand it off to the auditors to make their presentation is the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, also known as the ACFR, which is generated from the audit, is a great tool to use whenever you want to see actuals for this year and a very small comparison to that year's budget. Whereas the budget book is a great tool to use whenever you want to see a multi-year comparison of budgets with meaningful connections to those audited financials. Both are excellent tools to have at your disposal. I just wanted to make that distinction known that the ACFR is really a picture of a point in time, whereas the budget is a story that tells where we've been and then where we plan to go. So with that, I will introduce Ms. Claire Wooten. She is the director at Weaver, and she will continue the rest of this presentation.
Thank you, Vanessa. Hi, everyone. My name is Claire Wooten, and I am a director with Weaver, and I helped lead the financial statement audit for the city of Coppell this year. So you have the annual comprehensive financial report in front of you, as well as a PowerPoint presentation that's been printed out. So first, we'll go through an introduction of the audit team, audit results, we'll go through our audit process, required communications that we're required to let you all know of. We'll go through some brief financial highlights and then have an opportunity to ask questions. So on slide 3, John DeBurrow is the partner. He couldn't make it here tonight, so I'm presenting on his behalf as well. And my name is Claire, and I'm the director on the audit. John has 20 years of experience and I have 14. And then we were also aided by Abby McKenzie and Janice Menendez, who were on site every day during the field work that we did back in January. So those audit results on slide 6 is the report card of our audit. It summarizes everything into about 3 bullet points. It's really what you're here for tonight. We have issued the independent auditor's report on the financial statements, and we have given an unmodified opinion. That is a clean opinion. That's the cleanest opinion you can place on a set of financial statements. We have also issued the independent auditor's report on internal control over financial reporting, and that we have issued that opinion stating no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies. And then we've also issued our independent auditor's report on compliance for each major program and report on the internal control over that compliance with the uniform guidance. And so that report is your part of your federal single audit report, and that's when you expend more than $750,000 of federal awards, you're required to have a federal single audit. And so that funding that we tested was the ARPA program, if you'll remember that, and we have issued an unmodified opinion and no findings there. A little bit of our audit process on slide 8. It's really a continuous year-long process where we really start our initial audit planning. Right after the audit is over from the previous year, we're starting to look at what new guidance is out from the GASB, which is the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, what new guidance is out there from the federal side, like the uniform guidance when we're looking at those federal transactions. We come out in August to perform interim field work, which we're looking at the internal controls during that time. So the numbers are still moving because you're still during your fiscal year. So we're looking at the internal controls in place over the cash disbursements process or the cash receipts payroll process. So we're looking at those. We're also doing a number of tests of internal controls where we pull a sample selection. We come out for final fieldwork in January once those balances have been finalized. And then we met with Mike and the city manager and his team, and Tracy and her team, and then met with them on February 14th. We issued our audit opinion, and then we are here tonight to present to you on the 25th. And then it's kind of a continual discussing general issues, large transactions that come up during the year. The team is always available to reach out to us anytime at any point in the year. On slide 9, for our audit process, we perform our audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards, generally accepted government auditing standards, and then also in accordance with uniform guidance. We follow a risk-based approach where we're really looking at those items that could have the highest risk of material misstatement. So we're really looking at revenue recognition, capital projects, purchasing in compliance with bidding procedures for those capital projects, payables, accrued liabilities and expenditures, and then those federal awards that I mentioned earlier. And those risks that we place on those doesn't mean we're not auditing other areas such as cash or receivables or any other areas. It just means we place a higher risk on those areas, making sure all your liabilities have been accounted for. On slide 10, when we came out for our interim fieldwork procedures in August, we did our planning and risk assessment process. We performed walkthroughs of internal controls, including cash disbursements and purchases, payroll, investments, receipts like utility billing, court, and then also like grants. And then we also performed procedures over the budget and financial close process. And then testing of compliance in regards to the Public Funds Investment Act. So that's your investments, making sure your investment officers have their required training, investing in the allowed by council investments. And then we also perform that control testing over cash disbursements and payroll. On slide 11, we came out in January once those final numbers were ready. We wrapped up our identification of the major federal financial assistance programs. We tested those ARPA funds. That's the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery, better known as ARPA. And then we tested the final account balances and the current year activity. So utilizing analytics, vouching of material transactions, and sampling. And then we also evaluated estimates for reasonableness. So starting our auditor communications on slide 13, this really just gives a little bit more detail about our results that I've kind of already summarized already, but the financial statements are the responsibility of the city. We are putting together the ACFR. We aid in that preparation because it is more of an efficient process. We've got all the financial statements linked together from the trial balance, but they are really the responsibility of the finance team here at Coppell. And then we have completed our audit and issued that unmodified opinion. We have also, on slide 14, issued our opinion over the generally accepted government auditing standards. No findings noted, is in addition to the uniform guidance as well, unmodified on slide 15. Slide 16, we have to identify any unusual transactions and bring those to your attention, and we identified no unusual transactions. There was accounting guidance or support for every transaction that we reviewed. There were no items in question in regards to that. In regards to the adoption of new accounting principles, GASB 100 was the latest GASB that was required to be implemented this year. That really is only would be in effect if you had significant errors or changes in your accounting principles that needed to be pointed out and identified in the financial statements. But there was no changes in your major or non-major funds, and there were no corrections from last year's report that needed to be identified this year. And so that statement really just makes those changes highlighted to you, and so you're able to see what changed between last year and this year more easily. So that statement, although really important, didn't have an effect on your financial statements this year. Significant risks identified, I mentioned those briefly, but improper revenue recognition is a risk that we place on all auditees that receive and record revenue. So we really like to we like to lower our scope, meaning we place a big point of detail to those revenue sources like grants and utility billing, because even though utility billing could be lots of immaterial transactions when you're looking at customer invoices for every single month, in whole, if the rate approved by council didn't get pushed through timely, that could have a multi-million-dollar effect. So we really look at recalculating a sample of invoices. We test grants at a smaller scope to make sure we're really looking at all those grants and making sure they were recorded as required to be done so. For fraud and illegal acts, starting on slide 17, we noted no material errors, irregularities, or illegal acts noted. Material weaknesses in internal control, we noted none of those, nor did we note any significant deficiencies. The other information contained in the ACFR in front of you also contains other information that is not audited, like the transmittal letter. Most of the introductory section, as well as the statistical section, is considered unaudited, but we are placing an in relation to opinion over those, where we are saying we compare them to the audited financial statements, and we make sure if anything were to change in there, that is also changed in those other areas as well. The last line on that slide, on slide 17, is we're required to let you know there are estimates in that annual comprehensive financial report in front of you. Those estimates are considered to be the pension liability and the OPEB, the two OPEB plans, so your retiree health plan as well as your supplemental death benefit plan. And both of those are really put together by an actuary. Management has no way to really modify any of those estimates. The work that we did and the journal entries that they provided to us, all of the information agreed directly back to the actuarial report. There was no management bias in those. So we're required to look over those to make sure there's no management bias. On slide 18, we noted no difficulties encountered. Management was really great on getting us everything timely. We turned around field work by the end of January and wrapped up the audit by the end of February. It was really a quick turnaround, and management is very helpful with everything that we needed. When we were ready to issue our audit opinion, we obtained a management representation letter from finance where they, and signed by city manager as well, where they took representation of those financial statements. They're representing to us that they're taking responsibility and have provided everything to us as we requested. We're not aware of management going out and consulting with any other audit firms for basically a better opinion, because we had no issues with our opinion, and there were no findings. Basically, if we had a finding and they didn't agree and they went and shopped for another opinion, we're not aware of any of that. And then no independence issues as well. We're independent as a team and as a firm. We're also required to let you know of any significant audit adjustments or any past adjustments, which mean past adjustments are adjustments that are immaterial enough that we can pass on, that are not included in your report in front of you, but the report in front of you is identical to the trial balance that finance has on their computers as well. So there were no audit adjustments and no past adjustments. Starting on slide 20, we're going to go over a couple of quick financial highlights. I can pause there if anybody has any questions, because I know I'm talking pretty fast.
Council, any questions so far?
All right. Excellent. Okay, so on slide 20, this is a comparison of your general fund revenues by source, 24 compared to 23. Your general fund revenues in 2024 totaled $89.8 million, which was a $2.2 million or 2.5% increase over fiscal 23. And this increase was due to the net effect of a $1.4 million increase in property taxes, $1.2 million increase in sales taxes, and $652,000 decrease in interest income. And so these revenues, for financial statement reporting purposes, we do not, transfers in, we do not identify those combined with revenues. Those are considered separate and below the line for us in financial statement reporting purposes. So that note is at the bottom of slide 20. Just wanted to point that out as well. And then on slide 22, it's kind of helpful to see it in a bar graph form where you can see that revenue go up or down in each of those categories. So your property taxes went up just slightly, as well as that sales and mixed beverage revenue. And then that interest income for your governmental funds decreased, or your general fund decreased just slightly. On page 22, your comparison of your general fund expenditures by fund. You totaled $62.2 million for your general fund expenditures, which was a $3 million or 5% increase over fiscal 23. And that really was mostly due to public safety increasing expenditures $1.1 million due to budgeted salary increases. And again, very similarly, for financial statement reporting purposes, transfers out are not included in that number, and they are included below the line. On slide 23, is a 2-year comparison where you can see 2023 compared to 2024, that just that slight increase in public safety, everything else is remaining really very much comparable to prior year. On slide 24 is just a comparison of your general fund balance and the categories there. Your non-spendable represents items that have already been spent. Your committed, assigned, and unassigned balances are categories that committed means it's committed and set aside by council. Assigned is assigned and set aside by management. And then your unassigned funds balances are those that can be used for any operating purposes by the city. And so it's nice to have that little pie breakout on the right-hand side to show kind of how that shows in comparison. Your general fund balance increased by $15.3 million, and that's due to revenues and transfers in far exceeding the expenditures plus transfers out. And then your unassigned fund balance in the general fund represents 89% of your general fund expenditures. On slide 25, overall, there was a favorable budgetary variance of $9.3 million, where your revenues were 5.0 more than budgeted, and your expenditures were $4.3 million below budget. So overall, a very good budgetary variance. On slide 26, this is covering your water and sewer fund, or your enterprise fund. Your net position for fiscal 24 increased by $4.3 million during fiscal 24. Your operating revenues increased by $1.2 million or 6% due to primarily the net impact of water sales due to the new tiered rate structure. as well as the winter averaging, and then your operating expenses increased just $481,000, or a 2% increase over prior year due to repairs and maintenance costs. Your net operating revenues and expenses increased $368,000 due to an increase for your water sewer fund in the interest income, and then your transfers out decreased by $591,000. On slide 27 is your upcoming changes related to GASB. In fiscal 25, GASB 101, which is related to compensated absences, GASB 102, certain risk disclosures, and then in 26 will be the next two, GASB 103 and 104. So you'll note when we come out for next year's presentation, 101 and 102 will be implemented and then continuing from there. And that is it. That is my presentation for tonight. Do you all have any questions for me?
Thank you very much. I'm not sure how you did that without running out of breath.
I know.
Thank you for the presentation. Council, do you have any questions for Claire? Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, thank you very much for the presentation. I really appreciate you putting this in a very digestible format that is easy to understand. I'm on year 4 of council, and sometimes I'm like, well, you know, it's a lot. For our people that might be listening, so we saw a lot of phrases like unmodified opinion and let's see here, no findings noted and things like that. So just so everybody understands, an unmodified opinion is a good thing, correct?
Exactly. It's
yes.
a clean opinion, the cleanest opinion you can get.
Yes. And so based on the presentation that you gave us, you really didn't find anything at all. Everything came back very clean and
correct.
You know, so it sounds like what I hear is our finance team, as they normally do, because as I've said on this council, I don't think I've ever seen anything but an unmodified opinion and things like that. They do amazing work as always. So I want to thank you for reassuring us that our finance team and obviously our leadership here at the city is doing a great job of being responsible stewards of taxpayer money. So thank you for reassuring us that they're doing the right things. And thank you to the team for all the amazing hard work that you do. We really appreciate it.
Councilmember Carroll.
I'll say something right quick. Thank you, Mayor. One quick question on page 27. So the GASB, it's the 101, 102, and then
yes.
Do you anticipate those being significant?
101 will be if your city does not look at sick balances so basically you have your vacation PTO accrual, and then you also have sick time leave if the city does not already look at that, but I believe they do, and it's already included in the balance sheet, so really it should not have any impact. It's really taking a look at the policies and doing a deep dive into those vacation and sick policies.
Okay, thanks. Well, thank you to Weaver and the whole team for your partnership with the city, and certainly for the clean audit. We thank you for that also. So, but even more so than that, you have to go behind the numbers a little bit, and I really appreciate Ms. Tien and her whole team for the job that y'all do every day, making sure this is all transparent, coming up with creative ideas to not only how to run the finances of the city, but also how to explain it to the 8 of us that sit up here. So very much appreciate the whole team for what you do every day that produces this kind of report year after year after year. So appreciate it very much.
Councilmember Walker.
Thank you, and it's nice to meet you, Ms. Wooten.
Nice to meet you,
thank you for
too.
your presentation and Weaver's great work. And I'm not going to let Mayor Pro Tem Nevels or Councilmember Carroll steal my thunder on this. When she talks about quick turnaround from our finance group, y'all do a wonderful job, and we're really proud of everything you do, and very thankful for your just incredible work. Thank you so much.
So, you know, we're coming up on our, what is it, Kim, help me out, 11th anniversary of being AAA rated?
It was 2015, right? So
I thought it was 14.
maybe it was 14.
Well, okay, 10 year. You know, we're very, and I think that's just indicative of the audit results that you showed. So thank you very much for your presentation tonight. We do need a motion and a second and a vote to accept this report. So Councilmember Carroll.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve item 10 and accept the annual comprehensive financial report.
Thank you, and I have a second from Councilmember Walker. All in favor?
Walker, Carroll, Nevels, Prem Kumar, Matthew Hill in favor, none opposed. The motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I just say one thing?
No.
We want to thank you all for all of your support too. But I also want to take a minute because I have team members that stayed this evening to see this through to the end.
Well,
and
bring 'em on
I just want to
down.
recognize them. I have Michael Eccles and Susan Ratton, they're accountants, and Michael helps a lot with the accounting and the budget, and of course Vanessa. And then you've met Jennifer, our procurement, and then Regina with utility billing. And this would not be possible without them. They are very dedicated to this community and work the hours that they need to get this done so that you have something to be proud of and that you can rely on the numbers. So I just wanted to take a minute to thank you and to thank my team. I appreciate them being here.
So, and I think something that Councilmember Walker was saying, you know, the fact that your department runs so seamlessly really makes our job very easy. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, item number 11 is the city manager reports with project updates, future agendas, and directions from work session.
Mayor, thank you. Since everybody said thank you already, I do want to acknowledge our SFE department for the great work that they do in keeping us all straight, so appreciate that. Just also want to thank Hannah Cook. I did not mention her name this morning or during the State of the City, but Hannah did a great job helping the mayor and I look good, or at least I hope we looked good, so during the State of the City, so I wanted to make sure I said thank you to her. The Magnolia Park Trail contractor is continuing to work on the Gabion basket installation. DART contractor continues working on completing sidewalks and asphalt repairs at several of the intersections. I was told today that they look like they are going to make, they're going to start running at the end of the year. So let's just say that. How about that? Fire Station 5, if you haven't been by, the building is dried in, interior work is underway, and they are starting to lay brick. The Service Center continuing on the foundation work, and the 635 U-turn is continuing to have work done on it as well. Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Item number 12 is the mayor and council reports on recent and upcoming events. So I'm going to preface what I'm going to say here is about a movie called Finding Nemo. So you have to understand that when you hear the first part. So it's find your movie buddy and hop onto the East Australian Current, which is what confused me. I thought we were moving to Australia, maybe with Councilmember Hill, and maybe down to New Zealand, but it's about the movies Finding Nemo. And ride your way over to Andy Brown Park East on Friday, March 7th at 7 p.m. to sit back and relax for a showing of Finding Nemo. Pizza ISD and F&F Express and Donut NV will be available for dinner and dessert, so no need to cook that evening. Item number 13 is council committee reports concerning items of community involvement with no council action or deliberation. We have a report tonight from the Dallas Regional Mobility Coalition by Councilmember Carroll.
Thank you, Mayor, and I will make this quick. We're in this legislative session at the moment, and so our coalition, it really focuses on, as the title says, regional mobility and everything. We have a four-legged stool that we are looking at for our agenda for this session. So the first item that we are focused on is just continued transportation funding, and that is primarily in the form of TxDOT being able to issue debt on behalf of the Texas Mobility Fund beyond 2027, which is when it currently expires. So there is a focus on making sure funding for future transportation is in place. Item number 2 is support for public transportation. So the DRMC is supporting state funding for public transportation, including using the Texas Mobility Fund or direct appropriations, either way, but certainly continuing to focus on public transportation. Number 3, the DRMC is in favor of a voice of local governments being heard, and so the coalition is opposing any prohibition that restricts the voice of local governments to have representation in Austin, which is a mutual agenda item with this council, in fact. And then the fourth one is looking at future transportation routes in areas that are expanding, the ability of municipalities and counties to control future transportation corridors is very crucial, and that is there are certain areas in our metroplex that continue to grow that are struggling with this issue. So being able to preserve future transportation corridors before funding and projects go out to lead is very important. So that is our fourth thing that we're focused on. So that's our legislative agenda for this coming session. We'll see how it all turns out here in 2 or 3 months.
Thank you very much. Keep your fingers crossed. Thank you. Item number 14 are public service announcements concerning items of community interest with no council action or deliberation. I got a couple of items. We did have our State of the City presentation this morning at the Art Center, which was hosted by the Coppell Chamber of Commerce. Very well attended. I'd like to thank all the council members that showed up for that, as well as the staff that helped put on and supported. And Hannah in particular did a wonderful job of keeping the video going behind Mike and myself. I didn't even know it was going on, but she apparently was coordinating that seamlessly. The second item is just an announcement that the Chamber of Commerce, in coordination with the school district and the city council, will be in Austin next Wednesday for our Coppell Day at the legislature. And we will be meeting with a number, hopefully, of elected officials down there to pass along our legislative agenda. So looking forward to that date. Does the council have any other public service announcements? Seeing none, item number 15, we do have one item from the executive session that Mayor Pro Tem Nevels is going to read into the record.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to authorize Holland Knight to file an appeal of the interjudgment in the City of Coppell versus Glenn Hager, Texas Comptroller, involving State Rule 3.334, and to take appropriate action to protect the city's position regarding the same.
Thank you very much. Do we have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Carroll. Is there any discussion on this item? Councilmember Matthew.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a question for the city attorney.
Yes, sir.
My understanding is that this appeal process that we are going to be doing, and the reason we are doing is we won about 90% of the lawsuit, or 10% is in dispute. It is better to file an appeal to protect that 10%. Could you please explain that to us?
Yes, as you all are aware, in filing of the suit, there was various issues within the rule itself that were challenged by us and our colleagues that joined us in that. And the court entered basically almost on all fours every issue that we brought before her and tried and were successful on. There was one last thing we think she could have done a better job clarifying, and it's that little one thing that we need to get some instruction on from the Court of Appeals. And so that's why Mr. Harris of Holland Knight suggested, and I concur, that we need to execute that appeal to get that clarification.
Okay, excuse me, one more follow-up question. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm asking this. I know in other cases that when you go for an appeal process, you hire specialized people for appeals. Is the law firm that we have today and the attorneys we have are the right people to do the appeal?
Yes, I'm familiar with Mr. Harris in particular and Holland Knight, which used to be Thompson Knight, which is one of the Dallas's oldest law firms. The lawyers there have a lot of appellate experience, that team, and I will make sure that we get that information to the council so that you feel comfortable. But I'm very comfortable that Mr. Harris and his team will be able to execute this appeal successfully for us.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Walker, Carroll, Nevels, Prem Kumar, Matthew Hill in favor, none opposed, motion carries.
Thank you very much. We really thought that we were going to be done with that one back in December, but it's going to go on for a while. Therefore, there being no further business before this council, we are adjourned at 8:41 p.m.